Bonjour YouTube, welcome back to California, West Africa. Today I want to talk about a kind of a silly topic, but I want to talk about how I'm actually the real life Karate Kid and what I experienced in my life growing up. So here's the video, thanks for watching.
Why?
Because I asked you to.
Come on, Ma, California, so look.
Take them up, I want to see your baby browns.
Ma, come on with the baby browns.
Are you on something?
Yeah, I'm on Minute Maid. That's
Why are you hiding your eyes?
I'm not hiding my eyes.
Then take
Ma.
off the glasses.
Ma, come on, man.
We're in the rainy season, so I can't really take Bella for walks. They're building a road. I don't know why they started building the road right at the rainy season. So the roads are completely undrivable, and I got a little break in the rain right now, so I'm gonna go for a walk. But here's the thing. This is what I want to talk about today. I've had a life that is, listen, I'm the center of my story. I'm the only person that cares about my life. But the thing about it is I've had a very interesting life, to say the least. And if you were to make a Hollywood movie about it, it was sort of, yeah, okay. So I'm trying to figure out how my life would have been put into a movie. Because you know, when they do true stories, like you guys remember the Aaron Brockovich story, the American Sniper story, a lot of these movies where they take a real life story and then they commercialize it, sanitize it, and then make it palatable for a wide audience, right? Ignoring the realities of life. But I'm actually, I don't know how this comes off. I'm like the real life Karate Kid. I'm not joking. Now, you know, on this channel, it's all over the place. I don't talk about just one topic. I talk about my life here in Africa, all the things I've been through, going to war, being raised by a single mother, going through abuse. If you look at my series, long story short, this is like a interim sort of video of that series. But I wanted to share with you some of the difficulties it is that I've had putting together that story. And I'm using, I just recently subscribed to Gemini Pro, where I am trying to use prompts in order to visualize my story. The problem with AI is I don't understand fully how to use AI. I'm trying to learn how to do prompts in order to tell Gemini what I want. And I don't have the highest tier level of AI assistance. So I can't get full videos like you see all these. I don't want to put out a bunch of AI slop, but I am using AI to tell my story. And I can get 10-second videos. And in order to get, and I'll show you some of the videos and pictures of me when I was younger and contrast that with the Karate Kid and stuff like that. I don't know, it's kind of a silly topic, but I'm kind of having fun with it. But it took me literally, between taking care of Bella and between my life here, just putting together a 10-second video depicting when I left home, what I went through being bullied at school, because I was born in 1970, so imagine me in 1984, living in California, being bullied, but the reality of it was, I was being abused at home. I was a latchkey kid, I'm a Gen X. I didn't have any older brothers, so I was in a neighborhood, a bad neighborhood, a black and brown neighborhood as a white kid, getting bullied severely. It wasn't like Ralph Macchio where he gets bullied, then he meets Mr. Miyagi. He's got this mentor. He fights in a tournament. He's triumphant. And then, as you know, if you know the story, now there's a Cobra Kai series where Danny LaRusso is now a successful a car dealership owner. So anyway, but my story has so many parallels to the Karate Kid story. It's almost uncanny. And I want to point out something. People on this channel, men have reached out to me because, you know, I try to appeal my videos to everybody because I feel like an average guy, right? And I am. Like, there's nothing special about me necessarily, but I'm in this in-between category. And here's what I mean by that. So as a young man from age 11, I was a very cute kid. I garnered a lot of female attention from grade school to junior high to up till high school. But then when you go in high school, it's a different situation, because then the girls there want the older guys that have a car. And I did have a car. I'm thinking about the movie the car they had in the Karate Kid, that 1950s type of car. Well, I had a gold-colored 1970 Mercury Cyclone GT that I bought for $300 from this little old lady. Her husband died, and I was able to get the car for $300. And I had a badass muscle car for the early 80s. So I didn't have a Mr. Miyagi. I had an abusive home. I had to leave home early. There was an incident, and I'm going to go into this in the Long Story Short series, where I was living in a bad neighborhood. My mother was on welfare. It was just me and my brother living home. My older sisters had left. Because as you know, I got 4 kids in my family, 3 different fathers. And so I've got my younger brother that's 5 years younger than me. So my mother, we ended up leaving Sacramento and moved to a little small town of Galt, which is a little bit south of like 20 miles. So I went from this ghetto schools curriculum to a white dominated area where I was behind. So I ended up dropping out of school because I was just too behind. Getting abused at home, I left home at age 16, which is the best and worst thing that ever happened to me. And I'm gonna detail some of the story, because I have never been a perfect person. I have done wrong things. I've done illegal things. I have done everything from sell drugs to commit vandalism to and I'll save it for the long story short. But I did some pretty big I did a heist of a major company in California. And I was caught for it, and I did some time. So I'm not a perfect person. I went through a lot of things. But if they were to tell my life story, they would sanitize it up. And I had some very good reasons at the time for getting into the trouble that I did. And I have a lot of, I don't want to say excuses, because I don't want to make excuses. I'm very into taking responsibility for your life. I'm big on that. People online have called me, oh, you sound like a conservative. Yeah, I'm a conservative. I believe in men taking responsibility and being accountable for your life. So I certainly believe in all that. But at the time, when you look at some of the things I got into, there are mitigating circumstances that make you go, yeah, that's, I can understand that, like objectively. I try to keep a reality to my life. You know, like I said earlier, going back to what I said about guys on this channel, some people come and say, oh, you're more like a Chad. I've never been a Chad. In high school, junior high, I never fit in anywhere. I wasn't a jock. I wasn't a smoker, at the smoking section. I wasn't a rocker. I wasn't a thug. I wasn't a gang member. I was in that category of Ralph Macchio, that Danny LaRusso sort of situation, where I was garnering all the female attention at that time. And remember, the Karate Kid was very popular in 1984 to 1986. And at that time, I looked very similar to him. And it's almost uncanny. Maybe the pictures don't do it justice, but trust me, whenever you're a kid who, I was never a coward, okay? I was scared all the time. I was getting bullied severely. I mean, when I say severely, I was so, and my mother was a single mom who was abusive. She wasn't protecting me, at my house. There was a lady at school who knew some guys that trained in Tang Sudo. And my mother put me in the Tang Sudo class. So I took enough karate right after I was getting bullied, and learning Tang Sudo, enough of it. I had my fight the bully scenes. And every fight I've been into, and I've been in, I want to say 5 or 6 good fights that I've been in. And they've always been with bigger, stronger guys than me. And I've only lost 1 fight. I'm talking about when I was in jail, I got into a couple fights. But my first fight, after putting the bully in his place in junior high, I got into a fight a few years after that, and it was with a guy who was, because I always kind of looked at myself as like the hero. I don't like bullies. And I was in a situation where I fought this guy who was picking on this real fat kid. He kept calling him fatty. I said, hey, you stop doing that. And we got into a fight. Well, I knew how to punch. But what I didn't know was this guy was going to an all-boys school. He was very strong, and he was taking wrestling. So I got into the fight. When we first started off, we're on the schoolyard, you know. I start beating him. I'm boxing him, and I'm smacking him in the face. Good. Well, that lasted for about 25 seconds. He took about 3 or 4 facial shots, realized he couldn't beat me in the stand-up, took me, and I had no ground game. And he put me in this leg lock and had me stretched out and was just, could free will just punch me in the face, and my friends had to pull him off me. That's the only fight I've ever lost. And I learned a valuable lesson from that. And it turned out that I was protecting a guy that was actually his friend. And back in the 80s, what I didn't understand, being raised by a single mom and not being around men, I didn't understand that men insult each other. So I was sticking up for his friend, and they were friends. They were like best friends. Hey, fatty. And I was like, but I was mad that he was picking on this guy. I thought he was picking on him. So I'm glad I lost that fight, because it taught me a valuable lesson that, you know, don't go sticking your nose in other people's business, especially situations you don't understand. I don't white knight. I don't try to defend people I don't know. You know, we got a lot of things in the news where guys will go and get hurt or get charged with a crime whenever they go to defend people. So there is no chance that I would defend or step up for any women or children that aren't in my family. Like, my life is valuable to me. So, yeah, I learned a valuable lesson with that. There's no reward for heroes in our society anymore. And I won't risk myself protecting people that aren't my friends or family. So anyway, yeah, it's just funny how my life paralleled the Karate Kid story. If my story were to have been put into a movie, they'd have to sanitize it up, because obviously I'm not a successful car business owner, or I'm not rich. You know, I went to the military. I'm living off a military pension. I live a very modest life. But in many ways, I feel super successful. Like, I have a great family. I have a great woman. I live a comfortable, albeit rough, sort of existence here. I mean, look, have you seen? We've just been walking in mud this whole time. I can't wait till they put this street in, by the way. This street is going to allow me to get Bella a bicycle, take her out of here on the pavement, get her a little helmet, and I'm gonna teach her how to ride a bike. So I get to do all these things with my child and live in this life that I have. And I'm very, 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 very happy. So here's what I want to say here towards the end. So I haven't, every morning I wake up, I have this, you know, when you wake up, you have this burst of energy. Well, after you kind of wake up. Bonjour. So I don't, I have these thoughts in my head that I want to, sometimes I wake up sort of bitter. You know, the gender wars, dating, MGTOW, passport bros, like all these things are in my head. And then I go and I see Bella, I feed her breakfast, we have a nice little laugh, and all of a sudden, all that bitterness melts away within an hour of me having my coffee. And then I can't come up with any content because I don't want to just wallow in negativity. Now, the videos that I'm making, and I'm very, very committed to making this series of long story short. If you haven't checked out the videos, go listen to the playlist of my life story. I mean, my views have dropped off on this channel like a cliff. As soon as I put those videos out, people weren't interested in that, and that's fine with me. It's not for everybody. And I'm not a good content creator. I suck at making content. Because there's so many people that do it so much better. I know that if I had to do it for a living, I'm confident when I say this. If you were to put my back against the wall and said, the only way you can make a living, especially here in Africa, is to be a content creator and talk about, you know, dating and politics. And if I had to, I could. I could probably have a successful channel and make money doing it. I'm pretty sure I can. But honestly, my life is so full of being a dad. I was very pragmatic, and I'm intentional as a man, in that my family comes first. Not content, not putting out cute walks with Bella. I don't want to shove the camera in her face 24 hours a day. I want Bella to have her childhood. I don't want to be always constantly trying to make, editing, making AI videos, and that is a tremendous amount of work. Just ask any successful content creator. It is a lot of work. It takes talent, it takes time, it takes money, and it takes a huge amount of luck. And I don't have all of those things in abundance. I have an interest in making videos, of course, and that's why I make these videos. But anyway, so that's all I wanted to say. And I'd appreciate you if you wanted to go over and watch my life story. I don't know. It's it may be not interesting for everybody. A lot of people just want to see Bella and everything. But anyway, so I appreciate you watching the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.